Welcome back to my channel. It is Christian here. You're tuned in for more of my 2 cents. If you are new to the channel, then welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so glad you're here. And if you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for coming back again today for part 2 of our white church versus black church deep dive. This is a deep dive, y'all, okay? We are going in, or at least I am, on some of the beliefs and I'll just say like foundational principles of both churches, like the fundamental values, culture that the white church has versus the black church, where some of it comes from. And I'm doing a deep dive to get the conversation started, but I know it actually goes deeper. And that's what excites me, that the conversation and the dialogue will at least begin, right? I may not cover everything and think of it all, but that which has been imparted unto me, and I believe to be revelation, knowledge, truth, understanding, and a gift to be able to explain it and expound upon it with clarity and with grace extended for sure. If you see it this way or if you don't, that's totally fine. I'm just grateful that I can share it and free myself even in the process, as well as some others too. Before we get into part 2 today, I want to go over the 3 points that matter most before we start any discussion or dialogue. Number 1, you're not alone. Number 2, you're not crazy. Number 3, God, your creator, still loves you, and I do too. Okay, so yesterday we left off and we were talking about the kind of messages in the foundation that the white church teaches in versus the black church. So just to, recant before I go into the love element of it all, or that which does not exist, the loving messages. That is what we get from white churches. They talk in a soft tone. When they worship, it is more in surrender and in love. When the black church and the pastors go forth and they teach, their messages are usually heavily rooted in punishment and condemnation, in rebuking and reprimanding and chastising, hellfire, brimstone. That's what you're going to get, okay? As well as the worship is usually done in self-pity and a high emotional energy that is more fear-stricken, or I'm nothing, I'm worthless, and I need you, Lord, right? It's a constant state of repentance and a constant state of I'm falling short and I need you to save me. I need you to pull me back. I need you to, extend your love to me and show up for me. And God, I know that unless you do these things, I will be able to do nothing. So that is usually the energy and the foundation in the black church versus the white church. And so today we're going to talk about the love, and we're going to get into some of these famous, popular white pastors who are able to benefit from the black church culture, which it is traumatic, to say the least. So we're going to pick up with love. I did not used to believe that love was enough. And I now know that other Christians don't believe that either. They don't believe that the message of love is worth anything. If you're going to convert people, if you're going to convince people, if you're going to get people to transition to your side, they need to be taught that the love of God is real, is true, and is good, and is peace, and is love, and is joy and happiness over here. But baby, you don't want to die and go to hell. So it's always like that message has to be in there when you're like talking to someone of, the black. All right, they gonna tell you about hell. Because, baby, ain't much else in my pamphlet. They ain't give me that much training on the love side, but they taught me about that condemnation. They gave me some information on what's going to happen if you don't choose salvation. But then when you go like on that white side, it is definitely love. It's giving love. It's giving hugs. It's giving, oh my God, you're just so beautiful. Oh my God, listen, God loves you so much. God wants you to feel his love. God wants to wrap you in his arms and hold you so tight that you'll just be overcome by his goodness. That's what you're getting over there. And it makes sense because back in the day, we would hide from the Jehovah's Witnesses, but child, I guess it was FMLA, that was coming to pick them kids up on a bus. FLDS. Mormons. I think. Because them black kids from my neighborhood, because I lived in the hood, they was coming to pick up them black kids on the weekend. And them parents was sending them little black kids on their bus with them white kids and them white men that was picking them up. And I guess it was the love of God that they were sharing that made them black parents feel safe. Because I'm telling you, we was hitting the lights and getting on the flow when the witnesses came by. But it was like they were available. People were standing up, walking around, lights on, front door open, all of that. When the FMLA boys came through, they didn't mind talking to them and letting their kids get on the bus. Tone and delivery is everything, I suppose. Okay, makes sense to me. However, let's get back to my points. Love is not good enough. It's not a good enough anchor in the Black church. You need more. Salvation must be sold with a much harsher outcome. That's what I just said. And I'm reading my notes, you guys, so I'm not reading an article for someone else. This is what I wrote as it was coming to me and being downloaded into me to share with you guys. It will cost you to not live for God. And if you seek to enjoy your life, you must find it in Him. So that's the way that salvation is presented in the Black church. The love of God is great. You're going to get that. But that ain't all. That's not all your portion. Something else has to be harsher to get you to come over to this side, right? Ain't nothing working out for you. You can see ain't nothing working out for you. That's why your finances is like this. And I can see the Lord showing me this is about to get harder. This is about to get rougher. This is about to be this. It's always until you try God, nothing that you do is going to work out for you. I've heard people say that. Oh, she done tried everything except for God. She out here loving all the men. She out here looking for love in all the wrong places with all these men. But the man she needs, she don't want him. God. We've heard these things because to you as a believer and a Christian, God is the answer for everything. When in honesty, some of y'all just need a therapist. Some of you need to get to the root cause of what the dysfunction is in your life, what the trauma is in your life, what was the catalyst that caused you to now be experiencing and operating the way that you do in your adulthood. Where does the depression and the oppression come from? Where does the lack of trust and the fear come from? Where does the lack of self-worth and the low appraisal and value and view of yourself come from? You need a counselor. You need therapy. But y'all don't want to give them that. Y'all just want to give them God and send them on their way. And here I said, yet no one ever tells you how to find it. Nobody ever tells you how to find the love of God or how it feels once it is found. Nobody ever said if you were going to wake up with unspeakable joy and peace every day, or when times get hard and things come against you, what do you do? What do you tap into? What do I go back to when times get rough, when things get harder? What I've now learned, now that I'm no longer in church and I've done the spiritual work to, become clear about why I'm here and what my purpose is and how I need to stay connected with source so that I'm not always on a downward spiral when one little thing goes wrong. I stay in a state of gratitude. I'm constantly saying thank you throughout my day for every and any little thing. There's been several times during my videos where my phone would go off and it would be a reminder with an affirmation, things are always working out for me. I am grateful for X, Y, and Z, whatever my affirmation for that day would be. When I'm working, I am so grateful for my customers. If I'm packing orders, I'm looking at the names on the labels and I'm telling that person, thank you. I don't know them, but I see their name. So I'm thanking Sarah from Houston, right? I'm thanking James from New York. I'm thanking Michael from Iowa. A constant state of gratitude, because that makes room for more. It keeps your mind on what is working instead of what is not. In church, nobody gives you the principles nor the tools to exist in this space, in this world, when you're not at church. Church is a portal. Church is a gateway. That's why I was very confused about what Tiffany was saying, because I'm like, y'all, church is a portal. Just like you're calling this concert, so is y'all services. People literally get to dip up into the portal, go off into that gateway and escape from their reality and the real cares of life for a little moment in time. They get to conjure up spirits and emotions and energy and connection and crying and tears. All of these things, you feel good then, but then you get in your car, you get in that parking lot, and you are miserable. You are angry. You're going to social media. You are envious. You are jealous. You are comparing yourself. You lack confidence. You go out to eat. You're rude. You're mean. You're a liar. You're a thief. You're manipulative. You're conniving. You're a cheater. You're unfaithful. You're divisive at work. You're abusive to your children or your spouse. What does the love of God look like once you choose salvation? And how do you know it once you found it? It's never explained. It's never expressed because the goalpost is always moving. And that to me is the difference in the white church versus the black church. Because see, a lot of times, and I'm going to say this because I believe it to be true based off of my experiences. In the white church, they don't have to tell you what to look for once you choose the Lord, right? Because there are never really altar calls about giving your life to God, in the white church. The churches, I've attended 2 white churches for over a year, 2 separate ones. And the encounters were consistent. They would have prayer at the front if you wanted prayer at the altar. But there was very seldom a calling or a call or an open call for you to give your life to Christ. You can do that if you desire to, but essentially they just wanted to they wanted to show love and touch and agree with you if you felt like you needed it. Meet our ministers down at the altar. Meet our prayer team, our prayer warriors. They weren't even always ministers. What am I talking about? Let me take that away. It wasn't ministers. Meet our prayer warriors down at the altar. Meet our prayer team down at the altar. And they'll pray with you. If you're feeling heavy, if you need prayer, if you're going through something, if you need peace of mind, you literally could just go down there and have a one-on-one with whoever you came in contact with. That the black church, you got to come down here, you got to come up here and make a profession. You're going to be asked questions in front of people with microphones up to the pastor's mouth while you're talking. What's your relationship like with God? Excuse me? I did not come up here for that. It's always a shame type of environment and experience. It's never a loving, let me just pray for you today, sister. Let me just show you some love. Let's love on her and give her a hug. So some of the things that I'm sharing about love not being a good enough anchor, I don't have a counteract for that in white church because they don't come as hard as we do in black churches. So the opposite for them is just simply they only operate in the love vein, which some can consider to be love bombing. But to be honest with you, I feel as if though, if there is anything that would make someone convert, it would be love. It is crazy because in y'all scripture, it literally says perfect love casts out all fear. And we've talked about that too in my video about me not fearing God. I personally don't because of what I'm explaining to you. I understand that fear is a given taught reaction, response, and feeling versus one that you can feel naturally and say, there's no fear here for me. I didn't do anything that would make me be deserving of wrath and hell. So I'm not going to accept that. You can have that version of God if you want, but I don't have to accept it. Don't get mad at me because I'm not walking around here afraid to do everything, including breathe. You want to live like that, you enjoy that. But my portion is different. So moving right along. The white pastors who teach in love, like Joel Osteen, are demonized. Y'all know this to be true. People do not like that man because they call him a heretic. Let's give y'all the definition on that because y'all know like how I do. I will give you a definition, but let's get the heretic definition. Whoo-wee. And this stuff it's real. A person believing in or practicing religious heresy, a person holding an opinion at odds with what is generally accepted. Ooh, I didn't know that. A heretic is a person holding an opinion at odds with what is generally accepted. So Joel Osteen gets accused of being a heretic, and he gets accused of heresy because he goes against what is generally accepted in Christianity overall, because he won't preach the popular message of fire, hell, and brimstone. And he chooses to teach about God's love, forgiveness, and mercy, grace, favor, abundance, peace, kindness, goodness, gentleness. He's a heretic. Now I get that people be like, nah, Christian, when that hurricane happened and what he did when I opened his church, totally understand what y'all may be feeling for him. Totally understand. Right now, I'm doing a correlation on the black church versus the white church in the delivery versus the demonization of those that don't agree with the conversation that people over here in black churches is given. And while I do believe that all churches should be shut down for operations as far as the ministry and used as community centers, that would go for Lakewood as well. Shut it down as a church and use it for a community outreach center. And you can still minister to people up in there too. That's how I feel. He's not exempt. But my take on this is that I did not know that that was the actual definition for a heretic. Again, I've heard these words my whole life, but no one ever explained what they were, because they don't want to, because then you would have the tools to think critically about why they're using the term against a certain person. Yes, I get that Joel Osteen may teach some prosperity gospel, but what's the problem with that? Shouldn't there be balance in the kingdom? If you guys want to talk about suffering and sacrifice, why shouldn't someone teach the opposite of that, which is God is also a God of abundance, no lack, increase, and not insufficiency? Right? I don't get why anybody takes pride and pleasure in being broke for the Lord, or struggling for Jesus, or crying out for your bills to be paid. That don't add up to me. Because I'm telling you right now, as an adult, I don't listen to nobody who don't have something. I'm telling you that now. And that's in life. I'm not talking about spiritually. I don't care about none of that. I don't look up to nobody spiritually like that as a leader. But in life, my principle is you cannot tell me anything if you yourself are not a demonstration of it in operation. You cannot tell me nothing about business. You cannot tell me nothing about family. You cannot tell me nothing about marriage. You cannot tell me nothing about parenting. You cannot tell me nothing about finances if you are not a picture of success of that very thing in operation. And that's how we should all be, because some of us are out here taking notes and knowledge from someone who is void of experience. Sit with that. Some of us are out here placing people on an expert level when they don't have any experience in that area. Imagine being on your way to go buy a $150,000 car, and you ask someone who has a bus pass what they think. You all are not going in the same direction. And I use that example just to kind of simplify what it is I'm trying to convey and how lopsided that mindset is, that you would even think it would be normal. You would not even seek the input of someone that's not even thinking along the lines of spending $150K on a car. They probably have other things they could use that money for. So they're not going to look at you and say, oh yeah, that's a great investment. Oh yeah, I've heard of those cars. They're actually really good and their value don't depreciate as much as X, Y, and Z. They're going to look at what you're going after as a waste. They're going to have a problem with it because they're not at that level. It doesn't make them a bad person. It just says that it's not balanced, it's not equal. So the outcome is going to be one that might be offensive. The response might be one that is a little envious and steeped in anger or resentment. It might be an uncomfortable or awkward conversation, right? So to think that prosperity gospel bothers certain people, I'm confused because I'm like, well, you want to be prosperous in your purpose. You want to be prosperous for the kingdom. What does that look like if your light is dim when you go out to speak to them? Don't nobody want to hear nothing from me on business if I'm not successfully operating in it. I can't mentor and get paid what I charge people to mentor them in business if I'm not successfully doing something they can go see the results of. Like, girl, I ain't gonna pay you that. You ain't even, okay. The fruit has to measure, right? The fruit has to measure the seeds that have A, been sown, and B, have grown. And some of y'all are out here with fruit that do not measure and add up with the seeds you sowed, allegedly. Some of y'all claim y'all done sold all kind of seeds and you just mean tithe. But in life and in love and in relationship, you sow none. You have no harvest. But okay, let's keep going. So the white pastors who teach in love like Joel Osteen are demonized, okay? Notice how all the other white pastors who teach hellfire and brimstone have majority Black followings. When this came to my fingers and I typed it on my phone, I literally almost dropped it. Because I'm like, what? That is accurate. Majority of the white pastors who operate the way that Black pastors do in Christian culture have majority Black audiences. And you're probably like, well, what do you mean Christian white pastors that operate? I mean the kind that try to preach with swag, teach with condemnation, chastising, rebuking, yelling at, and being aggressive in tone. Those white pastors that don't teach in the love, that don't have a nice tone, that don't deliver with calmness and worship in surrender or love, is your Rod Parsley, is your Kenneth Copeland, is your Jesse Duplantis, is your Joyce Meyer. Is it Meyer or Myers? Meyer. Let's just take the S off. I know Black people like to put an S on everything. Joyce Meyer. It's your Paula White. If I'm lying, I'm flying. And as you can see, I'm still sitting here. Oh, and let's not forget that Jesus is about to spin the block for you. Real Talk Kim. All of these people, white people, who don't teach a nice, loving message, have a predominantly Black following. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? I'm going to tell you what it tells you, because I'm going to tell you what it told me when I wrote it in my phone. It's a mental conditioning that they know who to bewitch and how to appeal to the oppressive state of being that they are used to in life and history. And you may be saying, what does that mean? All of those white pastors and evangelicals, some are, not all of those white pastors that I just listed to you that operate in tone and in energy of a Black pastor, they know the oppressive state that their demographic and their audience suffers from. And they address you accordingly. Everything is about money. Everything is about giving and sowing. Everything is about getting out of where you are based off of what you give. They know how to hit you up. Now, it's already unfortunate that your Black pastors will do this to you. Reprimand you, chastise you, rebuke you, right? But it's even worse when you see white pastors that will tap into that same demographic to do it to them too. If you look at the prayer meetings and the revivals and the audiences of these people, it is by and large Black women. And you're talking to someone who grew up in a household where these ministers were played consistently. At least Joyce Meyer, Kenneth Copeland, and Rod Parsley were. I heard of Real Talk Kim a couple of years ago, and Paula White, I ain't never heard her preach, but I definitely saw sis out there putting her hand on Donald Trump's shoulder and talking about the angels from Africa. Baby, no angel from Africa was coming to assist in any prayer that you prayed. Just want to tell you. Just thought you should know. And y'all have to be sitting here right now like, she ain't lying. All of these people's audiences are majority Black. They have been able to capitalize off of your oppression, off of the oppressive history of your ancestors, because they too understand that the control and the manipulation starts with the mind. And they also understand that every Black person that was enslaved and captivated needed a savior. Give them God. Somebody coming for you. We don't know when. He'll be here. May not come when you want, but he'll be there right on time. And can you imagine how long and how often our ancestors wanted God to save them, needed God to save them, was afraid while watching their families separated and sold, their husbands and their children beaten and stolen, assaulted and abused? Can you imagine how many times, how long they prayed and they asked God to save them and to change their situation? And to this very day, Black people are still sitting and waiting for God to do that. And that is the power that God has given you yourself to free yourself. The reality of it is that if the message of fear, hell, fire, and brimstone, which we now know is lighting, if that message were to ever change and you were to be encouraged, what do you think would happen instead? To be honest, I feel like church culture would be healthier. I think that it would be more palatable. I think that people would really operate in their worth and in their power, in their strength. But that ends up being detrimental for the ones who benefit from your oppression. They don't want you to do that. Now, you probably would still give. You probably would still enjoy going, but you would feel lost until you found the full truth, because this is what you've made your truth. So a lot of people coming into the true knowledge of God and the power that has been given to you would take a long time to accept, because you would have to release so much indoctrination. It would literally be like having one of those old school typewriters where you could like roll the paper down and then type, and then you have to roll the paper up and type again. Or you have to roll it, put some white out on it, then roll it back down to that sentence. It would be like having a sheet full of information, knowledge, wisdom, and history on it, and then just typing over it. And you wouldn't be able to read anything, because you would have to clean it. You would have to take it out, take that paper out, do away with it. And at that point, some people would actually die spiritually and emotionally, because they wouldn't be able to do the work that you or that I have done. What I'm able to share with you right now is from a place of no animosity, no guilt, no bitterness. I don't feel conviction saying these things, because I now have accepted that what I was told and given was not what I actually believed and signed up for. I didn't have any say in the matter of what I was born into. Nobody asked me if I wanted to be a Christian. I was just a Christian. And when you go to museums, specifically African American museums, the beginning of majority of the sentences that tell you about the person you're looking at on the picture that is Black will say, born into slavery. Correlation, anybody? I was born into Christianity with no choice. Nobody asked me if I wanted it, if I wanted to believe in it, if I accepted it, if it made me feel good, or if I would benefit from it. You want to give this a try, Christian? Nobody asked me. Nobody asked you either. Some of you chose, but for the most part, you were born into it, as were our ancestors. They were born into slavery. Their parents or grandparents were brought over here illegally, disrespectfully, disgustingly, and wrongly, traumatically. And all of that carries through the bloodline, and then you're just handed off into religion. You weren't born into slavery anymore, honey. You were born into salvation. S.A. You know the rest. Okay. I ain't mean to drop that kind of heat on them. But as it flows, y'all gonna get it. That's all I'm gonna say. Y'all gonna get what I get while it's being given. Okay, so I'm getting to my close. White ministries do not have to beg or fuss. I like this part of the download that I received because I was like, yes. Yes, I told you guys the churches that I've gone to, the white ones, where there was no pastor appreciation, where there was no pastor making an announcement that there was another offering. Hey, Harafe, I ain't seen Harafe in a minute. We only Harafe right here. There was no instance where the offering baskets had to come back out at the end of service because the deacons went back there and counted and realized we didn't hit our goal. I've been in church services where that has happened multiple times, where they take the offering to the back and they didn't get what they wanted, and they brought them back out after service for you to give again. Because see, what you're not going to do is play in the Lord's face, also known as my pocket. You're not going to be out here giving a little bit of money. Where the rest of it? It really be giving hold them up, stick them up, shark vibes. Like, I don't owe you the rest of what I got. What you mean we didn't reach the quota? I thought you were giving unto the Lord. I thought you were to give with a willing heart, with a joyful heart. No. You do that when you go to the gas station. You with a willing heart, put in what you want. Here, you put in what I need. Now, I told y'all we got this fence that need to be put up. We got this pavement that need to be laid. We got these light bulbs and fixtures that need to be replaced. Put more money in this basket. Never have I ever seen that at a white church. I've never heard them chastise, rebuke, and talk smart to the very people they want to fund their renovation or their personal situation. And it's crazy because, like, y'all really, like, I would expect people who are asking adults for money to talk nicer. They don't even talk to them nice. It's mind-blowing how smart you guys get talked to about your money, and you let it fly, and you pull it out, and you write it on the envelope, and you give it to them. Okay. White ministries do not have to beg, fuss, or strong-arm members out of money. They do not. Now, I don't know all the white churches, but the ones that I've attended and the ones that I have been privileged to know other leaders from, they do not do it. They be shocked. They be shocked to find out what goes on in the Black church. Because it doesn't even register. Now, maybe they're not laundering money. Maybe they're stealing money in the back, but they don't have to come out of their neck to get it. It's almost like their members want to give the money. And I believe that that's like a part of love. And I'm going to use this as as a connection. This is something like I would like to just think about it in this way as an analogy. So I'm married, right? And my husband will literally do anything for me, anything, and I for him, but him more than me. He will do anything. It's amazing. Oh my God. I know that. I'm aware of that, but I don't abuse that, right? Because of the love that I show him, that makes him want to give me more love. If that makes sense. I don't seek to abuse, take advantage of, or misuse him, but I know that he does everything he does because of the love that I give to him and how comfortable and confident that I am in his love and that he is in mine. It's like that and I believe with some of these white churches, their members feel the love of their pastor, the heart of their pastor. The leadership is so, they enjoy it. They enjoy being under this person's leadership, to where it's nothing that the pastor has need of or the church that is not going to be met. They don't have to beg or plead or say we're doing this or whatever. It's just flowing in naturally because they're getting fed and they're connected and they're part of the community and they're part of the kingdom building, right? The kingdom building of it all. They want to give and see it happen. They want to see it grow. Kind of like with your other, foundations or philanthropic efforts. You have all kind of clinics and hospitals and foundations and organizations where people just give to it because they like the work that they do. They appreciate and value the work that they do. They don't have to know all the work that you're doing. They don't have to be there to do it, for you to prove that they should give you the money. They just give it because they want you to have what you need when you're ready to go forward. But in the Black church, it's always forced. Oh, y'all got quiet when I mentioned money. He's like, you don't feel uncomfortable having to say that? You don't feel weird that you have to address how uncomfortable people became when you mentioned money. But it's the psyche, it's the mental conditioning that they A, have the right to talk to you like that, and B, you feel pressure to now give in to what they just said to you over the pulpit. Because that to me would make me be like, oh yeah, they definitely ain't getting nothing. Like, it's one thing for you to have a need, but it's a totally different thing for you to talk greasy to me in your need. That's like my child coming up to me and be like, I said I was hungry. What? Yeah, baby, you're not gonna need a meal. You're about to take a nap. You can't be hungry in your sleep because you about to take a nap and we're gonna wake up and try this again. But in church, they can definitely come at you sideways about the money they need from you. And they'll then tell you how much to give. We got a goal of 5,000. We got a goal of 50,000. We got a goal of 30,000. We're going to take care of that by this month. Everybody repeat after me and say, I got it. What? Do? Y'all better go ahead and mess around and get the church some lines of business credit. Y'all better get the church a Uline account. Y'all better get the church a Quill account. Y'all better get the church a little gas station card. Get an EIN for the church so y'all can build some business credit, honey. So y'all can start financing some of these things. Because y'all are leaning to your own understanding, believing that I'm going to give you my funds for all of the things. I want to buy a house. I want to buy a car. I want to travel. I want a new wardrobe. I want to renovate my room, my closet, my backyard. But I can't come to the church and ask y'all to give on that. We don't need a new gate. We don't need a new parking lot. We don't need no plants. We don't need to renovate the children's church. Because if we do, or if we did, if there were more people here that felt the love in the community and the joy of being here and being a part of it, they would give willing heart freely to make sure their children could enjoy their time in the back. I've seen churches that are thriving and flourishing because their members simply want the community of their ministry to thrive. They take pride in the way their church looks. It's a concerted effort. We all in this together. They enjoy the camp that their church can sponsor. They enjoy sending their kids and then paying for two of their kids' friends to go because their child enjoys going to church so much that they brag and talk about it at school. So now for summer youth outreach or summer camp, church camp, your daughter then recruited two of her friends. And now the parent is like, oh yeah, we're gonna cover little Susie and Monica's. I've seen it. I've seen them have to have two youth camps during the summer because they had such an an abundance of applications for kids, for teenagers to go to this camp. And then them saying the church is going to sponsor 10 more teenagers. And then other adults standing up and saying, Pastor, put our family down for two more. So now we got 12 more kids that we can pay for to go to camp. I've seen it. Not the chastising and the harassing and the begging and the strong arming and the greasy talk and the side swiping, the verbal abuse of those that haven't gave, ain't giving, didn't do. I'm just saying, it's a difference, you guys. There's a difference in the church culture between the Black and the white. And that's because they have been taught to do it out of love and abundance. And hey, this is a privilege. Like, we just get to enjoy church. Go God. And you are like, I'm only here so I don't go to hell. Okay. Not making this stuff up. Next point, and I only got one more after this, y'all. Black churches do not want you to know you have the power because you won't need a prayer revival or a hotline to get through to your own creator and source. It's a codependent relationship. This is the truth. Maybe I'll do a video expounding upon that. The obsession with your leaders. A lot of you have it where you cannot go, do, be, or hear anything that didn't come from the man or woman of God. If anyone else says it, no matter how profound, true, accurate, and direct it may be, you still will not receive it because it did not come from the person that you trust or that you believe was called to lead and cover you. That's dangerous because God should be your all in all. And the fact that you've taken a person who claims that they were called, right? Because we don't know. I could actually start a church, you guys. I'm just telling you what I know. I could, you all could, if you're good orators and you're great communicators. It would take nothing to get into character. And I'm not going to say I could start a church, but I could have a ministry. I could definitely be online and start doing messages and videos. I could wipe all of these videos clean from social media, well, from the internet, or at least from this channel. I don't know who just screenshot it or whatever, or recorded it, but I could definitely pipe up, come back and say, I left the church and God opened my eyes, and my conversion story would blow people's minds. Just what Tiffany has been able to do, give her testimony of liking to fight for fun. Old tweets of her actually going to a Beyonce and Jay-Z concert resurfaced, and she's able to call people dummies about it. Y'all some dummies. Y'all don't read. That was from 2014. I got saved in 2015 in my shower. She's able to use her testimony and her conversion story to win people over. Now everybody else is repeating her story for her. Branding and marketing is beautiful. So again, I say, if I wanted to start a ministry or get people on my side to give me money, eventually I would work up to that, okay? But I would be consistent in presenting stories and truth and renouncing all the things I've said in the past and talking about how God saved my soul and he pricked my heart and he whispered in my ear one day and told me, daughter, you're off, you're missing it. You're sending souls to hell. And I could just come up with a great, beautiful story that would evoke emotion and make people say, look at God. Oh, God is powerful. Have y'all heard of that Christian girl? She literally was against God. She had a whole channel talking about God. And now look at her. It would be easy because it's an emotional play, because people love to align themselves with other people who have a story that either A, sounds like their own, or B, they're like, I want to be close to someone with a story that emotionally driven and moving. I'm not crazy. I'm just free. I just know the tricks. I know the tricks of some of y'all favorite pastors, some of y'all favorite musicians and artists, and you guys want to act oblivious to it, and that's fine. But some of them are not called. They're not called, and y'all know it, but y'all are just there for the long haul because you're in it now. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, who's gonna listen to you when you sound the alarm on their fakeness? Nothing. It's gonna blow over. It has blown over for several Christian figures, several Christian artists. They're able to keep on going and getting money from the kingdom and getting booked. People know their whole, Pharisees, as y'all call them, or heretics or whatever. Y'all know this stuff and y'all keep going to their services. Some of you all keep excusing them. Some of you guys keep saying, well, God spoke through a donkey. Baby, a lot of y'all ministers are asses. But that don't mean, that don't mean you want to ride them. That don't mean you want to buy them. That don't mean that you don't want to ignore them. That don't mean you want to make them say hee-haw right on out your face. Have a standard. Raise the standard in Christ. Because right now the bar is low. It's very, very low in hell that y'all want to send people to. The bar for salvation is like literally down there. But whatever. Last point. The codependent relationship definitely is one that concerns me, because what it allows people to do is be subjected to their leadership telling them what to do. Go where I say go, do what I say do, worship how I say worship, be offended and angered by what I say to be outraged over, separate from who I say separate from. You literally have to do whatever pleases man according to what they say pleases God. And you've never one time taken a step back to say, is this really a problem for me? Is this really my battle to fight? Is this really my alarm to set off? Probably not. Probably not. But, for the most part, on a basic level, this is a separation, and this is how we get here. And this is how we even look at the correlational, study and connection of how culturally we believe that some of these things should be harder for us to attain, while other ethnicities and races don't have that same pressure and restraint on their mind, those limiting beliefs that they have to work hard to earn or to even be worthy enough for it. They just are. Like when we talk about, white privilege, we have to understand that is steeped in, they are the ones that control the narrative. They create the standard and the rules. So the privilege that they have is that which they've created. Everybody else just acts accordingly with it because they made it the standard, and now everybody else is following through with it. They can be the victim, they can cry and then get out of things, they can be treated with a little more respect and decency, they can not, fear not making it home from a traffic stop. Their children don't have to worry about being ostracized or looked at as weird or, different for their hair or their skin. And then on this side, total opposite. That may be the standard, but guess what? Good news. You can create a new one. That may be the narrative, but guess what? You can change it. We can change it. Religion and Christianity does not have to be toxic anymore for the Black church. But who's going to change the narrative? Who's going to hand out a different solution? Who's going to shift and replace the blueprint? I would say use whatever blueprint they have is working for them. I'm still not coming back. But at least you guys will have some better engagement, interaction, and benefits for the earthly realm than just waiting for your portion in heaven. White evangelicals and Christians still know how to balance checkbooks, build houses, get the cars they want, pay for their children's tuition, right? Backpack through Europe. They still know how to be earthly humans. And then Black Christians just know the Bible only. They don't know how to do none of this stuff. They can't help you fill out a damn FAFSA form. They can't help you with qualifying for a car. They can't co-sign for nothing for you. They can't help you after you have your first baby. They're not coming and retiring. They can't retire. They work until they die. I'm just out here telling y'all that this stuff is importante for y'all to be paying attention to. Religion has not stopped anybody else from living, but it has definitely caused there to be a lack of growth and evolution in the African American community. And we got to get under. I mean, Christianity really got Black people in a chokehold, all in all. And that may be the title of this video. Christianity has Black people in a chokehold. I like that. We got to ring to it. They piss people off, but I don't care. I'd rather share what is downloaded to me than let you jump off, skip off into the wilderness thinking you're free and you're really not. You have a whole tracker on your foot and you think that you're free. You're not. We know your history, where you've been, and how we can target you to get you back under control. You think you're making your own choices, and you are not. There have been so many people repeating the same thing in the comment section of my videos for like the last week, and I've been like, dang, whoever did work on y'all, good job. Good job. There is not even a differing of delivery in sentencing and sentence structure. All y'all sound the same. All of y'all. But whatever. I've enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys have as well. I am going to take all of my notes that I have because I have a lot of notes, you guys. Like, let me see if I can show y'all. It happened. It was such a great, come on. It was such a great download. And I just, look at all of this. All of these notes. No, I'm over here. Okay, I can't do it from backwards. But like all of these notes that just like was just rolling in as I had my phone. I was like, oh my God, this is good. Oh my goodness, I see how this connects. Oh my goodness, that is great. Oh, I never thought about it like that. Wow, that's deep. Like it was just so much. I think it would be great in the notes section or the description section of this video. I don't do descriptions often, but when I have notes like this, I definitely will start sharing them because they'll be like great points for you, like to even research it yourself. If you just want to copy and paste it, put it in a notebook yourself, and go back over it and say, okay, let me sit with this some more. Let me, chew over it or follow along in the videos, right? This will be a great reference point. So I'll definitely add that into part 1 and as well as on part 2 where I started back off and picked up from. So if you've enjoyed the video, well, if you've lasted this long, thank you. Thank you so much. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. I enjoyed relaying the message that was given to me. And I hope that it does help someone, think for themselves to, start a conversation or a dialogue that may not be popular, but it will definitely be a catalyst to, some other things like shifting and changing in your life for the better. And you being able to make some like really informed decisions on how you want to move forward in your spirituality and your relationship. Because it matters. It matters a lot when you have new information released to you. It allows you to operate from a new place of understanding. I know how that has been for me on my deconstruction journey over the last 3 years, where literally every time I reached another level of maturity and ability to comprehend based off of what I had already experienced and where I was in the journey, something else was unlocked for me. Something else was shared with me, a book or a video or a new speaker or, access to an event or a group of people. And it was like, dang, I know this is only happening because I'm on the journey to discover something greater and better. Like if I wasn't on this journey, these things would not be aligning and happening for me. And I think that's what a lot of people don't take into account, that when you're in motion, that's when things actually are always there for you. It lines up because it's already there. You're just not walking towards it. You're not heading towards it. So it's not going to force itself into your life. Like when people say what's for you is coming to you. No. What's for you, you will encounter on your way and in pursuit of your purpose. Like that is what I know to be a fact, at least for me. At least for me. If I did not set out to do any of the things that I'm doing now, I would not have come in contact with the people I've come in contact with. I would not have worked with the brands I've worked with. That I've not been featured the way I've been featured. I would not be mentoring other business owners and having the opportunity to speak and to share with people the way that I am, because I would have had to pursue these things, to learn these lessons, to know more and know better and be an authority on these issues or in these areas and in these industries. So be mindful of that. what you want deliverance from, or what you want understanding and knowledge in, you have to be in pursuit of, because it's not just going to fly out and come to you. You have to be on your way to something greater in order to encounter it in the journey, on the journey. All right. So that's all I'm saying. We have to go after more. The more people minds that we can unlock, the more people that can be freed. I would love that. Mental is everything. Emotional and spiritual. I would say mental first. Control your mind first. Then you'll be able to control your emotions. And from there, you'll be able to connect on a more clear spiritual level with your creator. And ultimately, that is what matters the most. Not letting anyone else get between that relationship with you and the person or the source, in the being that made you who you are. That is what matters most. Not a pastor, not church members. You and your creator is who you should be seeking to connect with the most. Not even please, but just to connect with and to hear from and to feel and to be empowered by. That is what the ultimate goal is, at least for me. But that's what I'm doing here. I'm sharing the journey, and I'm sharing the process. So if you've enjoyed the video, I would love it if you would like it and subscribe to the channel. I would love to add you to my 2 cents crew. We're on our way to 1K, and I'm so excited. I plan on doing a huge giveaway. I'm excited to launch some merch, on down the line, and really just help like facilitating these discussions. I would love to one day have an event and a panel where we can really talk about these things, like get to meet some of the 2 centers, because at this point, y'all, I love y'all and I appreciate you guys, especially the new ones, the ones that have been sending messages, commenting on the videos, and just being so kind. Y'all don't know how good that feels, because when you're doing the work like this, when you're a heretic, if you will, now that we know the definition, it can feel lonely. It can feel like people are against you, but then you have to remember it's not you that they're against, it's your belief. And so that's why I'm glad I can process through this, and I'm not doing this from an immature emotional standpoint or spiritual standpoint, because nothing offends me that people says to me. Nothing offends me. Like sometimes if I feel like I might want to say something back smart, I just write back and say, thank you so much for sharing your 2 cents with the heart behind it, because that allows me to release them. It's not them and it's not me. It's our beliefs that don't agree. It ain't you and it ain't me. It's our beliefs that don't agree. And that's a shirt. Whoo, child, I'm coming with that fire once I get this merch. And all y'all better go and buy a shirt. Okay. May have to drop a CD, you never know. Y'all may want a little EP on them. But y'all have a great week ahead, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Take care, show love, be kind, y'all. Be nice, be gracious. As much as you can, all right? Because what the world needs now is more love. All right? Okay. Bye.